Oh, hello. Sorry I'm a little bit late. I thought I'd have the house to myself sooner, and that's not what happened, but that's what 2020 is at the moment. It's just not going to plan at all. Okay, so I haven't even set up like where I'm gonna sit or anything. Um, hmm. Oh my god, what a mess everything is. No, I don't know what I'm doing. um, Let me get my tripod, hey. Okay. Actually, it's nice and cool in my room because I finally got air conditioning. So now when I'm editing video um, in summer, I can keep going without turning my room into like total heat world horrible. Yeah. Anyway, oh, I kind of do want to stay in here actually. So where can I set up? I don't really have a good lighting setup at the moment because my computer's over here and like the lights behind me, and my old desk lamp is over. Oh my god, am I even pointing in the right direction? There. And so oh, I guess it's not too bad. Just that light is a bit annoying, but I can't really do anything about it because the desk, like it connects to the desk there, and then the window's over there, and then my other light is over there behind a thing, and I don't currently have any lamp that I can just bring forward to sit at my computer. Oh my god, and it's too cold. I'm still trying to figure out how to get this to not be too cold. And I'm only using dehumidifier mode because that's more economical. But yeah, it still manages to be really cold. So I'm glad we used my calculations for the size of the aircon unit power rather than going with the quote they were going to give us a whole kilowatt extra, which is just like for the size of this room, and given we've got double brick and all that, you don't need it. So yeah, generally aircon guys will quote you more power than what you need, which is a waste and can damage the machine from it turning on and off all the time. So yay me. We were gonna go with 2 kilowatts, but we actually went for 2.5 just because they didn't have 2 kilowatts in stock, and we were gonna have to wait. No, way too long to get that in, so we went with a 2.5, which is slightly less efficient, but the 0.5 I guess makes up for any error in my calculations. But no, I think the 2 would have been fine because it's already like, oh my god, I'm running it on such a low setting and I'm cold. Anyway, no, point of the live stream is to sort of catch you up on what's been going on with my life because like 2020 is just crazy. Ugh. Where did I leave you last time? Hey, while we're in here, I can actually check what I've already put on my channel. Because yeah, it's just been a pain in the butt. Videos. Okay, so wow, yeah, the last proper video I gave you was the Punk Rave Australia one. And then after I filmed that, I was going to film the second one. I was actually filming it on the same day, but there was a problem, and so I haven't been able to film it. I'm hopefully going to film the rest of that tomorrow, and then I'll edit it, and then hopefully that'll go up soonish. Wow, the lighting just suddenly got a lot worse, and I don't know what I did. Is because I'm using a... Let me just change a thing. Hey, that's better. So if I put the screen on something bright, it's not too bad. Yeah, anyway, so after I was filming the Punk Rave Australia one, then my cousin arrived from Japan. Different cousin to the last time. And, yeah, she actually arrived a week earlier than we thought she was going to come. Like, we found out a few days beforehand, I think. And so she arrived right in the middle of a huge amount of rain and storms in Sydney, which was a bit disappointing for her because she came to Australia for like a sort of beach holiday, ocean holiday, and we couldn't do much of that, especially for the first week. And then even after that kept raining, and yeah, when there's heavy rain, you don't really want to go swimming at the beach because all kinds of stuff washes into there, so... Yeah. Anyway, we did heaps of stuff. It just meant like because I was hanging out with her most of the time, yeah, I couldn't do videos and things. I put like a whole lot of stuff on hold. I was with her almost every day, except like Wednesdays when I was working, and then Thursdays recovering from working. Um, that's my bonsai job. That's the one that sort of drains me, and then I need the next day to just sort of chill. Although some days I'm better than others. Um, yeah, anyway, so having Facebook up is super distracting. But, so, we did a lot of fun stuff. So, the day she arrived, it was pouring. So we just went, like, and had lunch somewhere, and, you know, nothing too big deal. I think the next day, oh, I can actually check what we did, because I've got Facebook up. How about that? Da la 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 la. Oh, man, I'm so tired, because, last week on Thursday I was out quite late, and since then my sleep pattern's been a mess. Like, I just keep staying up past midnight, which yeah, it's quite draining. So I'm sorry if the energy is really low and the brain is all over the place. I mean, I guess like the brain being all over the place is pretty normal for me, but yeah, I'm just like, what am I even talking about at the moment? Okay, so the first thing we did, we went to Chatswood because, you know, I took her sister, to Chatswood, and so it's been talked up. It's mostly just shops, but, yeah, some food. We had, like, sushi go round, and, then, yeah, we looked at a whole bunch of shops. She was mainly interested in, like, accessories and stuff. We got some bubble tea, and I introduced her to popping pearls, because I think in Japan they've only got the standard pearls, so they call it tapioca. The next day we went to Sea Life Aquarium. That's, yeah, in the middle of Sydney pretty much. There used to be another aquarium in Manly, and they used to have water slides there, but that closed down ages ago, which is a real shame because, like, as far as water slide things go, the queue usually wasn't that bad, and you know, there were different options depending on how game you were. And then you could go to the aquarium, and there used to be a cool seal show over there, but no, Sea Life, I think that's the only aquarium in Sydney that I know of now. And I'd never been there before, so yeah, that was interesting, and it's actually a lot bigger than you would expect being in Sydney, because it's like in the middle of the city, and you're like, where are they even hiding all the things that make up this aquarium? From the outside, it doesn't look that big, but yeah, actually, there's so much in there. And they have a dugong. The dugong story was quite interesting because I think like they tried to release it to the wild after like finding it injured, and when they released it, it just got beat up by the other dugongs, and they found it injured again. So they're like, you know what, this dugong it isn't cut out for life in the wild, so it just lives at Sydney Sea Life Aquarium and gets to eat all day, without having to do very much. So it's a very happy dugong. Like, sometimes with aquariums, I know people worry about like, oh, you know, the free willy thing, and dolphins kept in terrible conditions. But I think the dugong is a case of like a success story where this dugong was just not going to survive in the wild and was clearly unhappy, and now it's like super chill and just happily eating all day. So yeah, I didn't know that, and I hadn't seen a dugong before, so that was kind of cool. And then they have some really interesting, like, ancient sort of, what, I don't even know how to pronounce it, but there's this really old sort of fish that's like a living fossil. And then there was some, oh, I wish I could show you the photos in the live stream, but hey, yeah, no, if you're coming to Sydney and you want to see all like those weird things, because I'm like, what can you even do in Sydney? I've been here for so long that like I'm just sort of blind to the different things. But you can get like this pass where you can, this is what we did, we got the 4 attractions pass. We've got Sea Life, Wildlife, which is a zoo, the Sydney Tower Eye, which used to be called Centrepoint Tower, and Madame Tussauds, all bundled. You can also get like an extra bundle where you can do the Sydney Tower skywalk and go on the outside. But Sakura, my cousin, was a bit scared of heights, so, and then, you know, with the bad weather, we didn't want to, like, buy the ticket and then find out it was cancelled due to weather, so, yeah, but you can do that. So, yeah, we started off with the Sea Life, and then after that, I had bonsai, so Mum took her somewhere, I don't even remember where they went. I think they went to look at, like, some of the more beachy spots, but, they weren't able to swim because the weather was still bad. Then on the Friday, we went on the Valentine's Day. to Luna Park, and yeah, Luna Park. I went when I was heaps younger and it was fun, but hadn't been in a long time. I love the Wild Mouse ride. I think that's the best one. I think it's maybe the only roller coaster made out of wood in some scenario. Maybe it's the only Wild Mouse that's still made out of wood instead of metal. I mean, like obviously the tracks are metal, but like I think the structure is what they're talking about. And it turned out one of my old friends from music was working there, so that was interesting. But Luna Park, yeah, this is where I had like another one of those things go wrong for me because well, we started out the Wild Tango was fine. It goes in a circle and goes up and down and up and down. It was a bit more intense than I remember, but that was fine. And then we did Dodgem Cars, which was fine. My driving in Dodgem Cars has actually gotten a lot better, so you know, I was able to avoid the pile-ups pretty well, and yeah, you know, it was good. But at some point, what we did the Coney Islands thing, which is a bit of an odd one. Like, I don't know if other theme parks have something like Coney Island, very old-fashioned. The huge slippery dip thing was a bit more terrifying than I remember. Probably because I'm bigger now and way more, whereas when I was a little kid, I would have just stuck to the slide instead of like bouncing off it. But yeah, no, if you come to Sydney, try Luna Park Coney Island. It's a weird experience and I don't know how to explain it. Maybe you can find a video about it though instead. But so then we went on the Spider, which you have to go on the other side of Coney Island. So I think previously when I've been to Luna Park, I didn't see that because I didn't know you could go behind Coney Island for ages. But yeah, we went behind it and got on the Spider. And when I was younger, I remember really enjoying the Spider. It's kind of like this ride where the whole platform moves, and then on the platform you've got these little sections that spin around, and then on those little sections they have like 3 or 4 little individual cars that also spin around. So there's all these little spinning elements. And the experience is like sometimes you'll go in a nice big circle, and then sometimes you go on little circles and all that kind of stuff. And we went on a day where it wasn't so busy, so we didn't have to queue up. And I don't know for sure, but I feel like they let the ride run longer than you usually would on a busy day. And so we got a good long ride, but because it's spinning you around, I started to feel so sick. It was like too much. And when it finally stopped, I mean, I was like, maybe I'm getting too old for this. But when it stopped, there was this little kid who came with a school trip or something across from us. It was like, oh, I'm going to throw up. Yeah, so I got off that and I was like, okay, that was a bit too intense. So let's go do an easier ride. And we went on one of those chair swing things where, like, you know, you just sit on the little chair and it sort of spins, you know, lifts you off the ground and you fly. And I was like, usually when I've been on those are quite chill. So that'd be a nice one after the intense spinny ride. We'll go on a more chill one. No, the one at Luna Park is so fast that you're like this way on these bloody swing chairs, and oh my god, I was just like, I'm so messed up. So I got off that ride and I was just like, oh my god, to my cousin, I'm sorry, I have to sit down for a bit. And I must have looked really bad because security came over to check if I was okay, and I'm just like, oh my god, that's so embarrassing. Am I that old now? I'm that old person who can't handle the rides at Luna Park. So yeah, and then like I got myself together enough to go on the Wild Mouse. We left that to last because like that's the one where you take the photo, and it's my favorite one. We actually did it twice to get a good photo because the first time I didn't tie my hair up and I was in front, and you know, I knew to pose but she didn't know to pose. And when I did pose, all my hair was like in her face. So the second time we went around, we're like, okay, I'll tie up my hair. I'll go this way, you go that way. And at that point, I'd taught her the heavy metal hand. So she's like, let's do the heavy metal hand. So we got this really cool photo on it. I'm pretty happy with how that turned out, and she looks amazing in it. Yeah, but I survived that because the Wild Mouse comparatively is just easier on my stomach, it turns out. I do remember like when you get to the top of the Wild Mouse and it starts doing those things and it gets like right to the edge and it's like you're gonna fly off the roller coaster. I like how it does that, but it didn't really feel as scary as when I was younger, so that was something interesting. But anyway, after that, I think we went to get some food, but I was still feeling kind of queasy, so I couldn't eat very much, which was a shame because, yeah, no, actually the Thai beef salad was quite tasty, but I just was like, oh my God, oh, I feel awful. And we walked across the harbour bridge. Is that, I think we did like sort of the rocks and Circular Quay and had some ice cream and so on, but was that day? I think it was that day. I'm sorry, I'm just sort of getting my head to, oh yeah, that was that day. Tried to find the nice toilets at the Opera House, but it's been so long since I've been there. I mean, in the past I would have said, if you're going to pee in the city, try and pee in the Opera House because the toilets there are actually nice. But, yeah. Let me just hang on and fix a few things. Anyway, yeah, we couldn't find that, but we had ice cream and all that. But when we got home, like, I was still feeling kind of sick, and this screwed me up for a while. The next day I was supposed to take my cousin to Raging Waters Sydney, which used to be called Wet and Wild. It's basically a water park, because if we couldn't take her to the beach, might as well go to the water park, which was only open on weekends because it's not like a holiday period. Yeah, but I just, when I got up in the morning, I was still feeling so ill. So like I was gonna go anyway because I didn't want her to miss out on it, and I was just like, I maybe I'll just won't go on any rides. I'll just like sort of take her there. But nah, I felt too bad, so Mum had to go with her instead. I actually missed out on Raging Waters Sydney. I've never been there, and because I was just messed up from that ride, I couldn't go. So yeah, and then like the next, I think it took me maybe a week to get over properly that feeling. But one of the things that seemed to help is, oh, what was it called? I think it was called like the Epley maneuver or something. I think what happened is because like, especially because I've gotten older, going on that spinny ride, I think it messed up the little crystals in your ears that help you with balance. So I don't know what you guys know about the anatomy inside your ears. I guess I learned a little bit of it when I was studying audio. There's these little tubes in your ears that have like liquid and stuff, and then depending on how you move your head, I mean, if you've ever moved, like, you know, you get a cup of water and you can move it around and you can see the water level stays constant even though the glass is moving kind of thing. Simplification, but I think that's sort of an idea of how things work in your ears. And there's actually also these little crystals that help with that too. I don't understand exactly how that works, but so I think the only reason I know about this is I think maybe back when I was depressed, I was complaining about dizziness, and one of my aunts who had a dizziness problem was like, have you tried this maneuver? Which wasn't relevant to my dizziness at the time, but I sort of remembered it, that this thing existed. So I was like, I wonder if that's what's happened, if the little crystals in my ears got dislodged, and yeah, so I did that. I looked it up online, and you know, it's quite easy to do. You just sort of like you lie back at a particular angle for a certain amount of time, and then you let go the other way, and then you do stuff, and that helps the little crystals in your ears get back to the right spot. What was that? Are you still depressed? No, I'm not, thank God. I've been depression free for more than 2 years now. Yeah, so I had to do that Epley maneuver kind of thing. I wasn't sure which ear was messed up because I didn't see anyone about it, which maybe I should have. But I did it on both sides, and then I'd stand up and actually feel okay for a bit. After a while, it stopped working. But then, like, it didn't last much long after that anyway. I sort of got over it, but it seemed to help. Anyway, I was just sort of messed up and queasy for a while, and it's just like, wow, one more thing 2020 wants to throw at me is I can't do those intense theme park rides anymore. It's a bit sad, but hey, aging. Anyway, Sunday's cleaning day, but I also went to a gig with a friend, and because my cousin wasn't 18 yet, she couldn't come. But yeah, I had fun seeing, like, you know, going to an actual metal gig for the first time in a while. But back to hanging out with my cousins. So I think the next day we went to Taronga Zoo. Now, Taronga Zoo isn't something that you can package with those other 4 attractions. It's a different zoo to Sydney Wildlife Zoo, I think is called. Taronga Zoo is like on the other side of the harbour. And so we actually started off at the Wild Ropes. You can package Wild Ropes with a zoo entry. So that's what we did. Now, Sakura, my cousin, because she was a bit scared of heights, she actually, like, it was a real challenge for her. She actually made it quite far, like, even when she was, like, too scared and, like, saying, oh, I can't do it, and I was like, okay, you could try doing this, this, this. She actually got quite far. It's only, like, there was this, we came up to this obstacle. Wild ropes is, like, an obstacle course, sort of, like, in the air kind of thing, like high ropes, might be called some places. And yeah, there's the one that she got stuck, there's this long stretch where it's like this sort of bridge with little wooden things in it. And there are no ropes to hang on to. You have to hang on to the thing connecting your harness to the wire. What's that in the background? On the Charmander on the shelf. Oh, that's Life of the Sky Dragon. I actually did, if you look on my channel, go to playlists, there'll be a playlist called like Shelf Tours or something, and it should be the second video on that. I go through that whole shelf of my dragons, if you're curious about that. It's the Life of the Sky Dragon, and I think I show it in close detail. But yeah, anyway, so this Wild Ropes course, the one she got stuck on, very long, nothing to hold on to except your tether. And it doesn't wobble too much, but like I can tell from her, like, you know, from her situation and how she feels about heights, I think it was just a bit too much. So yeah, they sort of lowered her to ground at that point. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! From Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah. So she did quite well to get that far. I was impressed with her, like, pushing through a lot of that fear, and you know, maybe next time when she visits we'll try again and see how far we can get. I finished the course, and then I did, like, while she was sort of chilling out, I did the, like, you start off with a low ropes course, and then I did the high ropes as well. One of the high ropes courses, so Wild Ropes Zoo has like two lower ones that you start off with and then two higher ones. We only got paid for two though, which turns out was all they could do because the second high ropes one actually got damaged in that storm that happened when my cousin landed the week before. So yeah, but I did the high ropes one, and then we went to the zoo and we saw the bird show and the seal show. I think if you're going to Taronga Zoo, those are the two things on your map that you want to plan your day around. Bird show, seal show. They do have like other talks and stuff, but those two are my favorite. Yeah, and overall it was a good day. Then the next day we went to Wildlife Zoo, which is the one in the city, and that's the one you can package with the other stuff. And it's actually a different experience. Like, I was like, oh, we just went to the zoo, it'll be boring because it'll be the same. But no, they have a few different animals, but also it's easier to see some of the animals, especially we went first thing in the morning. So when we went, a lot of the animals were being fed, and they feed them close to the glass so that you can actually see them doing stuff. So that was a different experience, because like at Taronga Zoo, for example, we couldn't see any Tasmanian devils. I don't even know if they were on display. But at Wildlife Zoo, the Tasmanian devils were like right in front of us. So that was exciting. And then also at Taronga Zoo, we were trying to find a quokka, because I don't know what Japanese culture thinks Australia is like, but somehow my cousin had found out about the quokka, which isn't really that famous here. But she thought the face was kind of cute, so she wanted to see one in real life. And we tried to find it at Taronga Zoo, but yeah, just couldn't see it. I don't even know if they really have one. It was on the little map thing, but we couldn't find it. Whereas at Wildlife Zoo, the quokka was right in front of us, and it even like it's behind glass, a little short glass fence. But it actually hopped towards us and stuff, and it was just like, it was a really different experience. Taronga Zoo is bigger, has more animals, it's like open air, and you get nice views of the city. But Wildlife Zoo, like, it's a bit more intimate and you can see more stuff. Like, they have a lot of reptiles. If you like reptiles, they have little lamps that are like right next to the window, so you can actually see them sort of just like hanging out there. There were a handful of things that didn't seem to have any animals in it, but overall you could actually see a lot, and you know, you could get quite close to some of the koalas. And there were like wallabies and all kinds of stuff. Like you're walking right next to emus at one point as well. So it was different experience, but yeah, no, if you, it's worth going to both zoos, I think, because you get a different experience at both of them. Then after that, she made us these crazy Japanese style desserts. It was just like, oh my god, I couldn't finish it. She just put like so much interesting, exciting decorations on it. We also had a visit from a spider, so she did get that full Aussie experience with the huntsman appearing. She was watching TV with my brother because like they discovered some shows on Netflix that she likes that she can't get access to in Japan, and yeah, in the middle of it, this spider appears and freaks her out, and so my brother caught it in a container, and we're having a look at it, and she was just hiding behind a blanket. It's so funny. We did tell her about drop bears as well, but I actually told her it's bullshit. Um, anyway, so the wildlife zoo, is that the same day? Oh, actually, wildlife zoo, the same day we did that, because it's a smaller zoo, you don't need the whole day to do it. I think we sort of did the aquarium, like we took a whole day to do the aquarium because we also went across Darling Harbour to get lunch at this other place and do some shopping around there. Oh, sorry, it was just the aircon was making a noise like it's cooling down something. Or, I don't know. I'm still getting used to it. But it is nice to have. Anyway, no, the same way. I'm sorry, my brain's still jumping around. I'm really tired. Wildlife Zoo, it's right next to. Actually, the entrance for Sea Life, Wildlife, and Madame Tussauds are all in the same area, which is heaps convenient. You probably could do them all in one day if you started early enough. But some of them close earlier than others, so if you're going, like, check that. Anyway, after Wildlife Zoo, we did Madame Tussauds, which is not my kind of thing. I'm not a huge fan of celebrities and stuff, but it was kind of interesting, and yeah, I think she enjoyed it, and there were weird things where, like, you can stand in a booth and it makes a magazine cover out of you, so we did that. That was kind of funny. There was also this booth which is like, it was kind of like a karaoke thing, and they make out like you're recording a song or something. That was kind of funny because we didn't really know what we were in for, and so like she picked out a Raw song, and like the I don't really remember how the song goes because like it's pop, I don't, but it was something like the lyric was, "You're gonna hear me roar," but it's sung like heaps pop, so of course when it's coming up karaoke, I couldn't help myself but death growl it, and then my cousin's like jumping. She's like, what the fuck was that? So we had some fun with that. Got a whole bunch of pictures. God, yeah, it's a shame I can't show you. I mean, I could turn my screen around to look at the computer screen, but it's just gonna be a pain. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Yeah, and she's really into Aquaman, so we found that. No, my favorite one at Madame Tussauds was the Wolverine one, because they have this thing where you can hold onto a thing and it makes it look like you have claws that you're bashing into a tree trunk. And yeah, that one was kind of fun. Yeah, and then I think the next day we did the Sydney Tower, which I thought Sydney Tower wasn't the tallest tower anymore in Sydney, but I think maybe it still is. Compared to other towers like Tokyo Tower and whatever, it's actually quite small. But yeah, no, I didn't realize just how much you could see from up there on the observation deck. It was really interesting to get a look at Sydney from that perspective. Because like there, you can actually see a lot further. We could see all the way to the airport, and so we were watching like planes land and stuff. And then you look around the other airway, and you're just like, oh my gosh, yeah, you really can see a lot of Sydney up there. And then my brother Dave was like, "Can you get me a souvenir?" I'm like, you live in Sydney, you can just go yourself. Like, come on. But so we found like a little kangaroo with boxing gloves and took photos of it looking out over Sydney. And then, oh, if you do go to Sydney Tower, they had like these little chocolates, and like that were like wombat poo, kangaroo poo, crocodile poo. It's like chocolate but in the shape of different poos, and then they have different stuff inside. The wombat poo is the best one. So it's like dark chocolate in a cube, because wombats, they actually poop in cubes. I don't know how they manage that, but they do. So, yeah, the wombat chocolate poo was like dark chocolate cubes with this white filling that was so nice. Nemo took place in Sydney. Yeah, yeah, when they finally rescue him. Yeah. So if you do end up in Sydney and you end up at the tower, look out for the wombat poo because that was amazing. It was so nice. I think it was even dark chocolate with a white filling. I don't know what the white filling was, but if I can find it again in just like a standard chocolate, oh my god, I need more of that stuff. Yeah, and then I think those are the main things that I did with her. Mum did some stuff with her as well. I've probably missed things like where we went to lunch and whatever. What, Herbie? I don't actually know how much time I have, but I think I've got at least a couple hours, so I don't know what he's going on about. Anyway, so as you can imagine, it was a really busy 2 weeks, and so like I just didn't have time to record anything, and like I didn't have the house to myself enough to yeah. No, because like so Wednesdays I would go to my bonsai job, and then Thursdays I don't have the house to myself on Thursdays because people's work schedules have changed for this year. So now I've got to figure out how I'm going to fit in filming this year. It's been tricky. And then also because I was spending so much time with my cousin, like my other job, which is a work from home thing, some days it was a bit hard to get all that done. So then I'd be filling that in instead of filming or whatever, or editing even. I could have edited, but I didn't. Ever thought about moving to America? When I was younger, I thought about going to America because I was sort of into robotics, and robotics, like you kind of either want to go to Japan or America, and because my Japanese sucks, America seemed like the more logical place to go, but, I lost interest in that a long time ago. And America, like, yes, America, Britain, and Australia are all, like, English-speaking countries related to each other in a way, but the culture is pretty different. And so America, like I've been to America, but it was kind of weird in a way, and I don't know that I would want to live there unless I had like some really good reason to, which I'm struggling to think of one. So yeah, no, America's not for me. I like Australia. It has its problems, for example, our internet. But yeah, no. I think I'm not gonna move from Australia unless like I have to. I'm pretty comfortable here. Anyway, so that was the 2 weeks with my cousin. Super busy. And then after that I was like, okay, now I'll film some punk rave, and I will also do some other YouTube stuff. But that's when the aircon installers decided to come. For those of you tuning in just now, oh my god, I'm sorry. I finally have aircon, and I've got to figure out where to put my paintings now, because they used to be there, and... Anyway, so the aircon came. I was going to film on Tuesday, but that's when they started installing stuff. And they were still working on it on Wednesday, because it's actually kind of complicated. My house is quite old, and the space on that side, the outside space, there's not enough space to put the other side of the aircon on, so they actually had to wire it over the roof, or like inside the roof, onto the other side of the house to put the outdoor units. And it's so complicated. Like we had 3 people quote, I think, and we had 3 people visit to look at the place, and only one of them quoted us, which perhaps suggests that it was too difficult for most of the other aircon guys to think it was worth doing. Yeah, but the guys who did it were good. What was that noise? Oh, was that you, Hopi? Do you feed your dogs table food? Oh, like they occasionally get some scraps, but they've got their own proper food. Yeah, anyway, so the aircon came, and then they finished it on Wednesday. Then later that night, I mean, we got 3 new ones installed in like other people's rooms. I'm the one who need it the most because like I've got this computer that's giving out a lot of hot air when I do intense stuff. I've also got all my music gear, which gives out heat when I'm trying to do like basically anything on it because it's quite old. And mine stopped working. So Yeah, it like, you know, I read the entire manual as well, and then I'm noticing it's got this little error code going off, and I was just like, oh shit. So we had to get them to come back on Thursday, and the guy spent ages like trying different things, and it still wasn't working. So then he had to come back on Friday, and he brought an extra person, and then they finally got it working. But I don't know, like I think it was a refrigerant leak or something like that, and it just took them a while to get on top of the problem. It's working fantastically now. As I said at the beginning of the video, it was a little bit too cold, although let's try putting it down by one. Yeah, I'm running it on dehumidifier mode rather than proper air conditioning, because proper air conditioning gets really cold, and dehumidifying is a cheaper way to run it. Today is quite hot in Sydney. I think it's meant to get up to 35. Let me see what it is at the moment. It's, oh, yeah. 30, depends who you ask. Oh shit, 36. Wow, yeah, I'm not going outside. But there's some wind coming as well, and then we're going to get a cool change, and then the rest of the week should be pretty chill. I think Friday it starts to get hot again, but only for that day maybe. Anyway, so yeah, it took basically all week to get the aircon stuff sorted. What kind of books do you read? At the moment, I kind of don't read books. I've got some books, but they're just not interesting enough, and I'm so distractible at the moment. It's just like 2020 is being a real bitch, basically. Like, so if you guys remember, I was like, hey guys, do this poll. I'm going to make an effort with YouTube this year. And then straight after that, I injured my foot, and it's just like, you know, it was so hard to do anything while I was waiting for that to chill out. I even wrote a list of all the crap that's been happening to me in 2020. Like I couldn't even sleep in my room. It got so hot. That's one of the reasons for getting the damn aircon. My bathroom fan ceiling fell down twice. I realized I don't actually enjoy painting. My tripod is actually damaged now. It still works, but like I have to be careful with it, and so that's a real shame. So that's another dent in making videos. Had some problems with some Punk Rave Australia filming stuff. Had my cousin come a week earlier, so I couldn't finish that in time. It sort of changed my plans around. We had fun though. And then she also came during the wet season, like not wet season, it was just during a wet period, an unlucky wet period when she wanted to go to the beach and stuff. We had another roof leak, which is great. I got the motion sickness at Luna Park, and missed out on the Raging Waters thing. Oh my god, people, that's another thing, the aircon, right? Because I was home for most of the days that they were doing stuff, Mum was talking to them on the phone to get them back to fix mine when it wasn't working, and I think she mentioned to them that I'd read the entire aircon manual. And they're like all impressed and like, oh, what's she gonna do when she grows up? And I'm like, they think I'm still in school. So people still think I'm under 18, huh? You need something to, yeah, I do. I need something to get rid of. And that's not. I'm not even finished, because while my cousin was here from Japan, like just before she came, our dishwasher broke, and so the whole time she's here, we're having to hand wash everything. Oh my god! And like the guy took ages to come, and then when he did come, apparently, like, oh, I don't want to say too much because it's still broken, but you know, he tried to fix it, and then it was fixed, and then like we got one wash out of it, and then the next time we're trying to wash it, they're like you know, the rest of my family's like, it's not working, been pressing the button. I think later that day though, I was just like, fuck it, I'll try again. So I turned it on again and then pushed it in and pressed the button, and for some reason it worked. Then the next wash, my dad tried to turn it on. I was like, I said, I don't know how I did it. Maybe I bumped the side of the button, or I don't know, but it worked for me. And so my dad tried the same thing and it wouldn't work. So then I came along, turned it off, turned it on again, pushed it in, pressed the button, and it worked. So I'm now the only person who can turn on our dishwasher somehow. So it's clearly still broken, because like it never used to be like that. I don't know what magic I am doing to make the dishwasher work. Thank God it does work, because I'm so tired of hand washing everything. But yeah, no, we had it. It was completely broken for most of February. It was more than 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks it was broken. Took a while for the guy to come and have a look at it, and then longer to get a part to, like, they replaced the whole front door. and it's still not quite there. So, and then, you know, my parents are like, maybe we should just get a new dishwasher. But it turns out the current one we have is a non-standard size. So how are we going to fit one in? Magic hands. Oh my God. I don't know. Like the rest of 2020 is going pretty badly, but at least I can kind of sort of make the dishwasher work. But yeah, it sucks that it's like, what are they going to do if I'm not around? How are they going to turn the dishwasher on? Anyway, and then also, in my work from home job, they've had some system issues. So like, it was kind of cool to have an excuse not to work like the whole week. But then when it finally came back online, I had to spend like my whole weekend catching up on work because it goes to some overseas server and I don't know, something wasn't working. So you have to wait for the people over in Denmark to fix it. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, and then the aircon installation happened exactly when I wanted to start filming again, and then even when it was installed, it had an error. At least it's fixed now, though. Also, I've been doing a lot more with my voice, so I had the return of am I damaging my voice paranoia. I think I'm fine, though. Like, I did heaps of stuff one day, and I was like, shit, I'm not going to be able to talk the next day. Absolutely fine. In fact, after I finished all the growling, my singing voice felt better. Maybe because I was warmed up more, maybe because my technique opened my throat up, I don't know, anyway. And then also, oh, was this last night or the night before? I don't know, I was trying to transfer a whole bunch of photos off my phone onto my computer, and something went wrong in the connection, so I lost one of the high-res, I lost 2 high-res photos. I was able to get the lower-res versions off like a messaging thing I'd sent to my cousin. But yeah, and it's just like, can 2020 please calm the fuck down? It's just like, I'm still keeping this list of 2020 bullshit that's going on. It's just, so, you know, and then I'm like, how am I going to make YouTube videos? Also, I've been heaps distracted. Windows 10, let's talk about Windows 10. I know I've still got like my Alienware unboxing video to edit, which I should have done, but hey, this year's just messing me up. I could have edited all this video ages ago, but because I didn't have aircon, my room was just too hot to even be in sometimes. So yeah, probably don't want to edit video in that because it just pumps all the hot air out of the computer and into my room. But no, okay, Windows 10, right? When I'm watching YouTube videos and when I'm just trying to chill out, hard kick to the nuts. Yeah, well, to make things worse, it's also a leap year. So we even got an extra day this year. An extra day just to annoy us. So it's a longer year. Just... Anyway, yeah, no. Okay, so when I'm watching YouTube videos, and like this is just when I'm chilling out, when I just want to not do anything. Most people maybe watch TV or read a book. I'm a little bit addicted to YouTube videos. Anyway, I have like the YouTube video off on one side of the screen, and then on the other side of the screen in Windows 7 I'd play like Spider Solitaire and just sort of go into this mindless trance of vaguely absorbing the information from the YouTube video and then, you know, on autopilot playing Spider Solitaire. But Windows 10, now that I've been using it for a while, I had a go at it, and it's got like advertising and it wants you to log into all this shit, and I was just like, if I have to log in and if there's going to be ads, you know what, I'm going to fucking play Neopets instead. So I've accidentally gotten myself addicted to Neopets again. I have like a... How old is my account? It must be more than 18 years by now. I don't know. I think I made it in like 2001. Do you want a piercing or tattoos? No. I think I talked about that in another video. It's just not me. I don't even have my ears pierced, which is a bit unusual for girls here. I just never did it when I was younger. Anyway, so yeah, Neopets. Been playing Pyramids and Scarab 21, I think, and Battle Dome, and doing like Neopets dailies, and I think it's probably unhealthy of me to do that. YouTube's been kind of crap at showing me videos I want to watch lately though, so, you know, if there's less videos to watch, maybe I'll play less Neopets off to the side. Anyway, just because this year's been so... like, what's going on, I think I've needed a bit more time to just wind down as well, and so that's sort of damage my productivity because I just can't concentrate on editing. And then another thing that's kind of difficult is because like I haven't actually filmed much for YouTube except for Punk Rave Australia in ages. So all the video that I'm editing is like from December last year. And when that much time passes, I actually find it hard to connect to myself back then. And so that like I feel less motivated to edit. Um, yeah, but I feel like I need to get on top of that before I can film a lot of new stuff. So, and that's maybe like an arbitrary, artificial kind of restriction on myself that probably isn't that helpful, but yeah. And then just with the way this year's going, I've also been like, should I just take like a proper break from YouTube? Because fuck 2020 just doesn't want me to do any of this shit. But no, I don't know. I still feel like I have to get on top of a bunch of stuff. Um, like actually post the things that I was going to post. But there are some videos that I filmed like 2 years ago that I still haven't posted because the one where I went on a cruise, I'm reluctant to watch it because I know like when I was on that cruise, I went to a Mandarin lesson and they didn't really explain like how you do things with the tone of voice in Chinese, and so I like was trying to do it, but I think it was really embarrassingly bad. And I'm like, do I really want to post me failing at Mandarin on YouTube? I don't even remember any of it, to be honest. Um, yeah, but there's like some fun videos like me attempting rock climbing, so I probably should at some point. But I did wanna spend more time this year focusing on music stuff for YouTube and just like for my own music in general, and yeah, but like doing covers and things, and I just haven't had the time for it, and it's like, what even, and how do I concentrate on this stuff? And then I've stumbled on other things that I'm like, oh my god, I should make videos about that, but there's just no time, and especially because people's, like the rest of my family, their schedules have kind of changed. It's hard to be like, it's hard to plan when I'm gonna do stuff. Um, I'm like, look, guys, I gotta make a video. I gotta kick you out of the house, kind of thing. How many times can I do that? So it's yeah, it's been really tricky. Ah, let me just grab a drink. Hang on. Oh dear. And then like even today doing this live stream, right? I don't know how many of you guys got the notification that I'd scheduled it, but in the thumbnail I put like, you know, there's a chance that I won't be on time. And of course I wasn't on time because I thought I was going to have the place free at like 12:15 and didn't actually get the place free until 12:35. So I couldn't start at 12:30, could I? It's just like, oh, all these plans keep going out the window, and oh my god, calm down, 2020. But nowadays we have access to live streaming, so you know, it takes out all the stress of having to video edit stuff. It does mean if I like mess up badly, I can't really edit it so easily. Like I think you can edit it after the live stream, but I can't be bothered to figure out how that works. But no, I think live streaming is a bit more like how I used to YouTube, where I just like film whatever the hell I was whatever the hell I was thinking about and then post it almost straight after. Most YouTubers are not making it on time now, seems to be the 20 minutes. Oh, really? Okay. What, so they just schedule a live stream and then dawdle their way in? I don't want to be like that. It's just like, yeah, things aren't working for me at the moment. But, yeah, no, live streaming is a bit more like how I used to YouTube like 10 years ago, where I just like film whatever and then post it straight up. Can you imagine if I was able to live stream back then? I think that would have been kind of a disaster because I'd just always be online. Although, Australian internet has never been great. Then again, back then would have been much lower resolution, so hey, I don't know. But, yeah. No, live streaming is 15 minutes Oh my god. Oh, I'm glad I wasn't that late. I was only like 5 minutes late. Yeah, but it just feels like I'm being pushed to do more live streaming just by the way this year's going. It's so hard to get like normal videos done. I can't even find time to film them, and oh my god. It's just, yeah. Anyway, is there anything else going wrong with this year? There probably is more stuff. I mean, this is just talking about my life. Like outside of that, Australia's been hit pretty hard too. Hey, like we've had droughts for ages and then all the fires and then all of a sudden a whole bunch of storms. And the storms have actually like we had a big set of storms, but also before that like we had maybe one day or so where like a huge storm would just come through and knock out everyone's power and so on. Thankfully not in my area. I think it's more like north. There's this sort of, I don't know, it just seems to be this area that gets hit the hardest by all these storms. I don't know if the geography is like funneling the moisture in a particular way or whatever, but yeah, we seem fine here. It's more like further north where things really go a bit crazy. But yeah, so they got hit, I think, at the end of last year. I don't know exactly what, like maybe it was November even. I don't know. But then, yeah, no, earlier this year, like when my cousin arrived, suddenly there was this huge amount of rain. And then after that, there was another set. And like, you know, one of the days that I was at Bonsai, we had no power. So it was like, how do we run the registers? And we couldn't have a fan. Which a fan there is really important because it's sort of like in this greenhousey sort of setup. So yeah, what was that? What did I just miss? Oh, I missed a few things. So Australia's doing better than America. Yeah, it depends how you measure things. Like, for example, I'm sure our internet is worse than America's, but other things here are better. I went on to vacation this year because I retired. Oh yeah, the corona. Yeah, no, so we have a drought. We've had fires, we've had sort of flash flooding. I think Queensland got more flooding though. And by the way, the fires were not across all of Australia. I was fine where I was. All we got was like bushfire smoke. The fires were miles away. So like I know the media gets a little bit hyperactive and then rumors go around, but no, Australia was not completely on fire. We just had a much worse fire season than we've had in quite a while. Very widespread and very long running. But not the whole of Australia, thankfully. Anyway, droughts, fires, floods, and flash storms and all that kind of stuff. And now the coronavirus thing. Now, I know some of you guys have maybe messaged me on other social media, like, am I worried about coronavirus and whatever. I'm kind of not, because when you look at it statistically, I'm relatively young in a relatively wealthy country with a decent healthcare system, so I'm not too concerned. I don't really have any respiratory conditions. I mean, I'm a singer, so it's probably a good thing I don't have any respiratory conditions, or else I'd really be stuffed. Yeah, and so like it's what, a 2% death rate if you catch it, which well, that's what we think at the moment. There's some suggestion that as they discover more mild cases and also people who have the virus but don't have any symptoms, once we identify more of those people, the overall death rate might not be as big as we think. I don't know how far they've gotten with that though. So it's mainly like if you're older or if you have a health condition. Zombie apocalypse. I've been kind of waiting for that, but unfortunately that's not how the real world works. And not how this virus is. The news media made it seem like the whole of Australia burned with no survivors. Yeah, I know, right? And so, like, our tourism's being hit because, you know, first of all, with the fires, they're like, oh, there's nothing left in Australia to see, which is absolutely not true. I've just, like, earlier in this live stream told you about all this touristy stuff I did in Sydney. And one death in Perth, yeah, the man was 78, exactly. And then, oh, speaking of that, hang on. There's too many things to think about. That was a fly, sorry. No, okay. Hold that thought about the deaths thing. What was I? Oh, fuck. You guys have really confused me. I guess my brain's like, what am I talking about? No, tourism affected by the fires thing because people think there's nothing left. It's not true. Come to Sydney at least. And then actually some of the places near where fires happened are actually fine. So, you know, just like do your research. Now is probably a good time to come because it's probably cheap, to be honest. But on top of that bloody coronavirus, so yeah, you can't come if you're from certain countries or if you've been in certain countries. How are jails like in Australia? Oh god, I haven't looked into that in ages, so I couldn't really tell you, I'm sorry. I know they're not like in America. America has a lot of like super profit driven jails. So I think you've got a real problem over there. We don't really have that here, as far as I'm aware. But I don't know what it's like inside the jails because that's not something I have experience with, not something I really know much about. Um, but yeah, no. So tourism. My family on the weekend. My youngest brother, he's got disabilities. He likes to watch trains. So they took him out to watch trains, and I don't know exactly where they went, but they had a view of like the opera house kind of area, which is usually heaps busy, like the bridge and all that kind of area. And apparently it was kind of dead. So right now is a great time to be a tourist because you don't have to wait for the lines. Like if you can get to Australia and go to those tourist hotspots, there's less people around apparently. So I'm sort of like, oh, I wonder if there's anywhere I can go and make the most because I hate crowds. I wonder if there's anywhere I can go where there won't be any crowds. It has sort of occurred to me like now might be a good time to go to Japan, for example, because like people are all like, oh, maybe the Olympics will get cancelled, and you know, school has been cancelled in Japan. I know my cousins, two of my cousins had different graduation ceremonies that got cancelled and aren't being rescheduled, which is a bit of a shame. And all that because people are panicking, like this year would have been really bad to go to Japan because the Olympics would have made it heaps busy. But if people are too scared to go, maybe it'd be all right. The main problem, though, is if you do go somewhere like Japan and it ends up on travel ban lists and whatever, then getting home might be tricky. So I was like, damn, there goes that dream. What was that comment? Vacation in Spain in the summer. What is the current? Yeah, I don't know. I think like maybe right now would be a good time to be a tourist within your own country. I think if you have to fly anywhere or cross borders, that might be a bit tricky because as governments get a bit crazy and shut down all kinds of borders, I do think there's a fair bit of overreaction going on. Yeah, it's just like as a tourist, you don't want to be stuck in a country where you can't get home from. But being in Australia already, maybe I should go to some more touristy places. It's just that I'm not the right kind of person. I'm not into so much mainstream stuff that, yeah, I'm a bit like, what would I even want to go to? I don't know. Yeah, until they start shutting down public areas. But we haven't had too many cases. And so, oh yeah, getting back to the 70 or 8-year-old man, like our first Aussie death from coronavirus. One thing someone has asked me was like, what about the younger doctors in China who've died from the virus? And the thing is, like, at first glance, I was like, yeah, that is a bit weird. Why is someone young in China dying from this virus when it mostly affects older people? Now, first of all, the mostly affects older people means that some younger people will die. It doesn't mean that younger people are immune. But the other thing is, if you've been following some of the reports about pollution in China at the moment, because they shut down a lot of industry, like first they had Lunar New Year, but then because of the quarantine, a lot of factories and also people haven't been driving as much, a lot of things have been shut down. And so, you know, NASA and all that have their satellites looking at pollution in the air, and, you know, China has a reputation for having bad air quality. So if you consider that a lot of these people are breathing in dirty air all the time, it's quite possible that a lot of Chinese people may have respiratory conditions that haven't really showed up, but like they've been breathing in this stuff. My brother told me about this guy who used to go straight from the tap. No, I don't know that it's just like being where it started, because like it's the same virus that spread everywhere else. What I wonder about is whether it's the air, because if you consider, there was a case of someone who used to go jogging in the city, like every day, and you'd think someone who goes jogging every day would be heaps. I don't know which city this is, by the way, but you'd think that someone who jogs every day would be heaps healthy. The thing is, they were jogging in polluted areas, breathing in a lot of bad air. And when this person finally died, I think younger than they were expected to, they opened up the lungs and found like it was coated in black shit. So despite being someone who exercised, they were breathing bad air, and that ultimately killed them or seemed to contribute to their death. I don't remember the source for this, so I'm sorry, maybe it could be bullshit, but if you go and look it up, it might be a thing. So that makes me wonder if with China's air pollution, I read another article where someone was saying because the air pollution has gone down so much in China, even though a lot of people are dying of coronavirus, less people are dying overall because the air is that much cleaner. I don't know if this is true, but it's a thing, right? They're breathing in bad air all the time. So when you think about the younger doctors who've died, it's entirely possible that because they live in a place with bad air and they're constantly breathing that bad air, their respiratory system may not be as strong as you expect for someone who is younger and seemingly healthy. And because the coronavirus, as I understand it, has a lot of respiratory symptoms, you throw that into some bad lungs, you may get some younger deaths in that kind of situation. So I wouldn't panic. Like, there's some people who are panicking, oh, someone young died from it. I think there are a lot of other factors, and it's more complex than just old people are going to get it, or just people with obvious health conditions are going to get it and die. Like, you know. Now, what was that one? Bad as the Spanish flu. Okay, so the death rate, as I understand it, I mean, take everything I say with a grain of salt, because I'm talking off the top of my head, right? But the death rate for coronavirus is the same as the death rate for Spanish flu. It's around 2% at the moment is what we think. New virus each year. Yeah, well, there's a new flu virus each year, which kills a lot of people. Tuberculosis kills a lot of people every year. There's a lot of cancers every year. A lot of people suicide every year. There's a lot of ways to die if you're really trying. But so with the Spanish flu, like, yeah, you can make that comparison, but on the other hand, back then, our health systems were quite different. So I find it, like, when you're looking at things historically, you can kind of make the comparison, but today's situation is also different. Oh, it's just water from, like, a thermos thing. But I don't put cold stuff in there most of the time, only when I'm working at bonsai, really, because when you're a singer, it's better to have more, like, room temperature water. But I have this bottle, and it's a nice bottle, so I might as well use it. The only thing I don't like is the plastic straw thing, because I have to clean it every now and then, and it gets super gross. But yeah, no, making comparisons to the Spanish flu, I'm just like, is that really what we should be doing? Because, like, health today is different. Although, on the other hand, it's easier to spread things because transportation is different. I don't know. I wonder if it's really a helpful comparison, or if it's just something that will make more people panic. And panic is a big issue. The weather in Sydney's been... Today's really hot in Sydney, but overall, it's actually been pretty chill. Like, a few years ago, we were still having 33-degree days, like, every day at this time of year. It went all the way through till April, I think. But this year has actually been much more chill weather, like, high 20s, sometimes mid-20s, as our maximum temperature. It's just today is one of those freakish hot days. And then tomorrow it'll be, like, 23 maximum, maybe, like when the cool change comes through. So actually this year has not been too bad for heat, but I still enjoying the aircon. Now what else was I thinking? The Spanish flu, blah blah blah. Oh yes, panic. Coronavirus, right? Like, I think there's a lot of panic going around, and I'm personally not buying into it. Hand sanitizer, just wash your hands with normal soap. It's fine. Like, just be sensible. Hand sanitizer, like, depending on what it's made of, hand sanitizer can, like, you know, mess up some of the natural shit on your hands, and, like, it can make things worse if you do it badly. I don't know. I just use regular soap. Regular soap is enough to get rid of most of the germs on your hands and stuff. You know, like, just be sensible about it. Healthcare's pretty good in Australia. Obviously, we have Medicare. Like, everyone can go and get medical care. Some places it's easier than others, like Sydney. If you're in a city, easier to access healthcare. If you're out in the middle of whoop whoop, not so easy, for obvious reasons. But in theory, everyone has access to healthcare. We also have a private health system alongside that, so people who want to pay extra can go to other hospitals and, like, yeah, get better treatment. So there's sort of like a two-tier thing kind of going on. But on the other hand, those people going to private health system can take some of the pressure off the public system. So it's a bit of a, like, well, how do we balance it with the population aging and growing and all that kind of stuff? But yeah, no, it's pretty good. Anyway, yeah, no, panic about coronavirus. I'm just like, oh my god. if you were thinking of buying shares, if you have a random amount of money just like sitting around, I would be watching the share market. I did this for Brexit. Hand sanitizer is like trading gold on the ground, like ramen noodle seasoning. I just don't think hand sanitizer is that necessary. It doesn't kill enough more. Same with here in America, healthcare. Yeah, no, America has a lot of things about it that I'm a bit like, I don't think I want to be involved in that. Anyway, what was I saying? Completely forgot. Yeah, no, I don't know. The stock market thing. Yeah, no. When the Brexit vote first went through, and people are like, shock horror, they're leaving the EU. Stock markets, like a lot of stock prices went down. I bought then, and yeah, actually, some of them I have done surprisingly well since then. And so, like with share trading, right? I don't understand the market. Like, people just panic and sell off stuff, and then like everyone buys it when things are going good. That's not what you want to do. You want to buy it when everyone's panicking. When the market has gone really low, you want to buy then because it is going to recover. And then no, don't buy medical stocks right now because those ones are already going up. Okay, so the ones that are popular right now, they're going to be too high priced. And then when the coronavirus is all over, you might see like a drop as things go back to normal. What you want to do is get the share, yeah. You want to get the stocks that have tanked but are still reliable companies. Okay, if the stock has tanked but it's a reliable company that went yeah, no, if something's going well now, you could sell. I don't really sell shares. I just buy them and reinvest because I'm young enough that like, if I reinvest then in like 50 hang on, how old am I? In maybe 30 years time when I'm, kind of fucked up, maybe they will have grown enough that I don't really have that many shares, but it will have grown at least. So you just you do reinvestment and then it sort of like builds up and builds up and builds up. And then also over time, the stock market generally goes up. So if you just leave stuff in there later on, although if something's getting a massive spike, maybe you do want to sell at the top. Corona, and buy cheap then sell. Depends on how you want to do things, but yeah, no. No, you want to get companies that you know will recover once all the hysteria is over. So like I bought a couple of banks back when, also like groceries. They're all pretty consistent. It depends in your country though. I don't know. Like for Australia, there are some companies that are incredibly stable, so you know they're not going to go out of business anytime soon. Yeah, but if I had a bunch of random money, I'd be watching some of the ones where people are just panicking because the stock market is full of sheep and they just do crazy stuff. Have a six pack? God no, I'm so unfit. Oh dear. Yeah, no, people get weird about names and I don't understand it. Just because something has the same name or a similar name doesn't mean it has any association. But human psychology is nuts. Some people just like get really carried away in this stuff. And it's the same with the share market. Like there's so many sheep who they're like lemmings, things start looking bad, so everyone sells, but they sell it when it's like all going like you can't lose your nerve on the stock market, particularly if you're playing the long game like I am. Some of my stocks have gone down, but because I've held on to them instead of panicking and selling them, they've continued to sort of bring back the money. So yeah, no, I just, as a random aside, as long as you're smart about it, if you have a random chunk of money just sitting around, I would consider looking at the stock market right now. Because it will recover. Like coronavirus, how long is it gonna last really? Not that long. It might, a worst case scenario, it becomes one of those the ones that stick around. Uber and Lyft. Yeah, we got Uber. I think we've got Lyft as well. I don't use them though. I'd rather either catch public transport or drive if I really have to. Anyway, so like that's one thing about panic is sometimes you can use panic to your own benefit. If people are going to be irrational and just panic. So the two things, you can buy shares at a cheaper price and profit from that panic. And you can also go to these touristy areas and have no queues. The time that that's going to stop working, though, is when shops start closing out of panic. But for the moment, yeah, no, I know about Ola. I don't know what Didi is. Do we have that in Sydney? But yeah, no, I'm just not panicking about coronavirus, especially like being a younger person. Like, what the worst? I might get sick at some point. It probably will infect a lot more of us. But most of us can expect to just get sick and then be fine again. One of the things that annoys me about the media is they focus on how much it's spreading, how many people have been infected, how many people have died, but they're not talking about all the people who've recovered. Most of the people who've had it have recovered now. Like, come on. Um, yeah, there's a lot of panic going around, and at the moment, I don't think it's justified really, unless you're an older or sick person or are close to someone who's older and sick. Um, for the rest of us, I don't think it's anything much to worry about. Um, at the moment, like there's always a chance that there'll be some development, and I'll have to eat my words later. I'm open to that possibility, but for now, fine. You know, I still have, where is it? It's in the other room. I still have some P2 masks from when the bushfire smoke was happening, but I only got them like right when the bushfire smoke was starting to dissipate and I wasn't going out enough. So I never actually opened them. I never actually used them. But they're the same kind of masks that you can use for trying to avoid coronavirus. I mean, you have to put them on properly, and when you put them on properly, they're quite uncomfortable. That's why they're saying don't bother with the masks, because most people don't know how to use them properly, and they are uncomfortable. Um, Mainly use a mask if you are sick and you try not to spread it to other people. That's more effective. Even if you have a mask and you're trying to not get it, you might still get it just because you don't know what you're doing. The other thing is, if you're playing with your mask, putting your hand on your mask to take it off and then touching your face and all that kind of stuff, you might just undo all the benefit of it. Perfect seating in movie theaters. Yes, make the most of it. Directly center with no one near me for distraction. Just will film. What film did you see? Hello there. Get my reference. Oh, did I miss a comment from you? I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't show them up properly. Shadow DSK. Hello there. Get my reference. Which one are you talking about? Also, TC the Mandalorian. Which movie did you see? Because I haven't seen any in a while, and if people are not going to the movies, I'd like to make the most of not having any crowds. There are some good spots in Sydney. I think Chatswood, Westfield Cinemas, Hoyt Cinemas, all of them are recliners. You don't have to pay extra for it. They're all recliners. It's really good. So if I can go there, although like usually I go midweek and there's not that many people there anyway. But if you live somewhere busy, definitely make the most of the fact that people are too panicked to go to these places. Oh, I just realized I actually bought Sonic. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not so interested in Sonic. Like, I liked the game when I was younger. Oh, hello there. Okay, yeah. No, you kind of just put it together in one thing, and also it being out of context is a little bit tricky. Invisible Man. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna plug in my phone. I finally got a long enough cable. Like, yeah, I don't remember when I got it. Hang on, sorry. I'm sorry if I'm fucking up the sound doing this too. Okay. Because I just realized I don't know how long we're gonna go for. I've got a lot of extra time. I even had a bigger breakfast, so hopefully I won't have to stop to eat something. Event cinemas in Brisbane cost $24 a ticket for yeah, we've got event cinemas in Sydney, yeah, I think the cost is similar. It's on George Street. And last time I went there, like the seats were terrible, and it was just like, why am I paying extra to sit here? And yeah, it was just like standard movie seats. Whereas when I went to Chatswood Westfield, I think it was actually cheaper, and we got really nice, comfy recliner seats for no extra charge. It was just like, wow. Because I know they've got like what gold class and luxe and stuff at these cinemas, but no, at Chatswood Westfield, as standard, all the chairs are recliners and they're really comfy. It's good. I think because like cinema audiences are declining now that we've got things like Netflix and whatever. They're trying to do more to make it a good experience. But event cinemas in George Street just haven't figured that shit out yet. I was really disappointed I think I saw Terminator there. And then when I went to Westfield, I was seeing Star Wars. Um, Very pretty and intelligent. Oh, thank you. I was going to go watch Invisible Man today, but I went Corona Apocalypse grocery shopping. Where? Oh, are you all? I know B Vlogs, you're in Queensland, but are the rest of you all in America? Is everyone else in America on this live stream? But yeah, no, so my brother bumped into my aunt and uncle who were saying how they got stuck behind someone who was doing apocalypse shopping, grocery shopping. Apparently this chick had like 3 shopping carts and was stocking up. Australia is not in the situation where we need to be doing that right now. Like, come on. But hey, if there's going to be less people at the shops, I will waltz through the shops myself. Like, oh, Germany, okay. Yeah, I think Europe, because Europe's connected to like everything else, maybe you guys will get it sooner. Australia being in an island makes things really easy. Candyman trailer. I haven't seen the trailer. I don't really pay much attention to movies at the moment, but I saw something pop up, and so I'm aware that something called Candyman exists, but I have no idea what it's about. Um, yeah. I think I only know what Invisible Man is because I saw on the news they were talking about like how they did the Invisible Man effect. Like they have someone in a green screen suit and all that, and like I find those kinds of things interesting. But yeah, no, I just don't see movies that much. I don't really watch Netflix. Yeah, I think I'm just too distractible. I think one of my problems is I always feel like I have to be working on something. I have this paranoia about being lazy, and so I end up sitting at my computer thinking I'm going to get something done, and then of course I don't get something done. So I could have really gone and watched TV, but I don't. It's like my psychology is like, but what if? So, yeah. Can't even find it. Flat. What? This is Germany, right? Wow. Okay. I guess if people are like, maybe if people are taking everything, you should try and stock up. Not because of coronavirus, but because otherwise you might run out if people are going to be that paranoid. What's the worst date you've been on? My God. Well, changing the topic completely, aren't we? So, I don't really date at the moment. Like, I've stopped that. I realized like I was right in the first place and that it was never for me. But there was a period of time where I had to go because like sometimes people are like, "Oh, you've never tried it. How would you know?" I have tried it. Yeah. So at one point, I watched like fucking TED Talks. I fucking hate them. But like before I realized how bullshit they were, I watched a TED Talk where some chick was like she made the dating apps seem really funny, where like she put scores on people and like it was quite a funny talk, and so I was like, oh, that looks fun, I'm gonna try it. So I signed up to RSVP, I think. Yeah, that would be the one. Chef, where can oh my god. Oh my god. Well, you need to eat. So, I mean, hopefully the fresh food is cheaper for you at the moment. Maybe less people are going for that. Maybe you can get that. But yeah, if people are going to be that crazy, you might have to actually stock up as well, just so that you don't miss out. Here in Australia is fine though. I don't think we've gotten that mental. Um, but yeah, no. There was this time where I signed up to RSVP, whatever, and yeah, it was super awkward. I don't understand how you can just intentionally go on a date with someone you haven't met before and expect that to work out. It was heaps awkward. But there was this one guy who ended up stalking me, and he was super awkward. Like his picture as well was sort of like, oh, okay, real life, what? Sometimes in Italy in lockdown. Yeah, for some reason it's gotten to Italy. So I guess Germany is reasonably close. If you're in Europe, you probably want to take more precautions than if you're somewhere isolated like Australia. Um, just because things can move by land. So even I really feel like this whole virus thing just makes me think of that virus game where like you always start in China because everything spreads quickly from there. But Madagascar is always the bitch to try and get your virus to. Blind dates are terrible. Yeah, like you talk to these people online and like it seems like they're normal people, but then you meet them and you're like, oh. Actually, most of the guys that I met were fine. It's just that it was heaps awkward because I was like, I mean, I don't even feel anything for anyone anyway, but like, how can you expect to feel anything for someone just like on a random, I don't understand dating at all. But yeah, this guy, we went to the Australian Museum because they had a T-Rex thing on. I was like, hell yeah, I'm like, I was gonna go anyway. Um, but when I met the guy, like, he was heaps weird. He was ridiculously tall as well, which I hadn't picked up from his profile. And like, I don't know, conversation was boring and all that. But so we went to the museum, we're looking at the T-Rex exhibit, which was really cool. And when I go to a museum, if I'm into it, I will read every fucking panel. So if you are not into reading every fucking panel, you will be bored going out with me. And I think that was one of his problems. Like when I was with Sakura, my cousin from Japan, we were going to all these things. I made a conscious effort not to stop and read everything because it's her holiday. I was sort of just there to show her around Sydney. So I was like, okay, I will control myself. But demonetizing, well, that's fine for me because I'm not monetized. I haven't been monetized since they, made the requirements so much worse. Like, I'm on YouTube for 10 years, not causing trouble. Then because some douchebags are messing up, we all lose advertising. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Good work, YouTube. Thanks for rewarding loyalty. But anyway, yeah, no, the T-Rex exhibition was actually really good, but I had this dude just hanging around being really annoying and insecure, and I was just like, oh my god. So, like, actually, because I sort of picked up that he was insecure, I didn't let him pay for anything. Sometimes guys will try to pay, like, even though it's the 21st century, they still think I have to pay for the chick. And I was just like, no, I refuse to let, like, when they pay for you, sometimes like there's sort of a like now I owe you kind of thing, and I was like, I'm not getting myself into that. Yeah, no, I mentioned that earlier in the thing. If you've seen my go to my channel page, go to the playlist tab, go to the shelf tours, the second video, I do that whole shelf. And yes, that is Sly for the Sky Dragon. I didn't realize that sitting here, everyone would notice it and be like, hey, what's that up there? It's Sly for the Sky Dragon from Yu-Gi-Oh! One of my high school friends gave it to me ages ago. Dinosaurs and insecurity. Oh my god. But yes, I didn't let him pay for anything. And then like what? I bought myself, I still have it. Do you know that every now and then I come on with a T-Rex skeleton shirt? That's from way back then. I tend to keep my shirts a long time. I'm really bad at throwing out clothes because like if they're perfectly fine, why would you just throw them away? It's weird to me now with the Punk Rave Australia and also having been on that Japan trip. Suddenly I have heaps more clothes than I've ever owned in my entire life. I would not normally buy as many clothes as I currently have. I would just wear this. Like I don't even remember when I got given this shirt, but I've had it for ages. Shenron, oh my god, I don't have space for any more stuff. I actually need to get rid of some stuff, to be honest. And actually, that's something I've been thinking about, like, because I had to take my paintings down so they could install the aircon, and then, like, I've had this huge pile of junk, which is actually in a different room at the moment, because I got to sort through it, and I'm just like, especially because I've decided I don't want to do painting anymore. I feel like I should get rid of a lot of my painting supplies and, like, 2D artwork stuff. And I just have too much stuff anyway, so I'm sort of like, what do I do, especially with my artworks? Like, should I give them away? Should I try and sell them? Should I give my Patreon people priority on what I do with them? Or should I just do, like, first in whoever? Should I give it to friends I know in real life? Should I give it to family? I have no idea what I'm going to do with all my stuff. I feel bad about just throwing out things. Like, I have knickknacks as well that I'm not attached to anymore. I'm like, I can't just throw them out. Some of them I'll use for bonsai type stuff, but there are some things I'm like, should I give them away? One of the things about giving things away, though, is a lot of people know that I had depression, and something to watch out for if someone you know is depressed. If they start giving away all their stuff, that can be a sign that they're about to kill themselves or thinking about killing themselves. Like they're trying to get rid of all their stuff, like sort out all their affairs, and then they go and kill themselves. And so sometimes I sort of think like, you know, if I start giving away all this stuff, will people get freaked out? I don't want people to freak out. I'm fine now, but yeah, like people might think, oh, maybe she's hiding something. Yeah, see this thing, sell it, use it to donate to a charity. Like, it's hard to sell stuff though. I think giving away is easier. And like, charities won't take a lot of the stuff that I have because I have a lot of alternative stuff that they won't know how to sell. And especially like a lot of them, I don't know about Germany, but in Australia, a lot of the charities are run by religious organizations, so they don't want to see some of the stuff that you might be giving away. Yeah, I actually have a lot of like gothic jewelry as well that I never wear. So, you know, like, what do I do with all this stuff? I went through a phase when I was younger where I was like, yes, maybe buying this thing will fill the void in my life, which of course doesn't happen. So now I have all this stuff. I haven't actually bought anything much for like 5 years. I think around 5 years ago when I did start getting depressed, oh, maybe not quite 5 years, but when I went through that long depression, that's when I think I really stopped buying crap. And I was probably slowing down before then anyway. But yeah, now I'm sort of, I guess I've gotten old. And so now I don't need stuff like this. Your next stream you had. Yeah, no, I won't do that. No, I've actually been doing really well over the past, since Hallowscream, I think. You know, doing that Halloween scare acting gig, I've been doing a lot better. Like, instead of just being not depressed, I've now been not depressed, but also feeling good sometimes. So, and I think that's one of the reasons that despite what 2020 is throwing at me, I'm actually doing pretty well. Like, I'm handling it well. Yes, things are frustrating, but I'm doing well. Like, if I was still depressed and all these things were going wrong, that might be a bit different, right? So, yeah. Oh, but back to the dating story, right? Before I completely lose that train of thought. So I bought that shirt, and it's one of my favorite shirts. It's actually really good quality. Like, sometimes when they print stuff on shirts, it fades really fast, and you're like, oh, that was shit. But no, this one has lasted maybe 6 years or so. Yeah, about 6 years, I would say. And so, like, the date with that guy, if you want to call it a date, I think maybe I had even said, like, with some of the guys, I was like, let's not call it a date, let's just, like, hang out. And, you know, I'm pretty sure he was just determined to think of it as a date. And then afterwards, like, I think it was heaps awkward, and he wanted to, like, keep hanging out, but I was like, no, I'm gonna go home. Oh, also, during this whole date, I was wearing my dragon onesie. So can you imagine, like, being a dude, and you turn up, and then there's this chick wearing a dragon onesie who goes to a T-Rex exhibition and reads every fucking panel? So yeah, dating me, you have to be the right kind of person, and no one has survived this far, so it's probably a good reason I don't date. Main thing being, like, I'm not capable of actually showing genuine interest in the other person in the same way that they're showing it in me. But no, me being a weirdo, like, yeah. Anyway, so we part ways, and it was heaps awkward, and I think he could tell that I was not interested in him at all. So, yeah, then after that, I started getting heaps of, like, messages and text messages. I think I still have the archive of, like, photos I took of his messages on my old Nokia. And I do still have the dragon onesie. It's too hot to wear it, unfortunately. I also have a Pikachu onesie. But yeah, no. So after that, I mean, the date itself was super awkward. I had fun though, because I was there to, like, look at dinosaurs, and I was dressed like a dragon. Like, come on, I was having fun. It's not my fault that he had different expectations. Because, yeah, he was a weirdo. But then he kept sending me these messages, and, like, he's like, oh, I know you weren't interested in me. I threw out the thing, I want you to burn that t-shirt and the stuff we bought there. And I'm like, dude, I used my own fucking money. Fuck right off. So, yeah, he was just being super weird. And then he would, like, send text messages. Like, there was one he sent that was, like, he was pretending he sent it to the wrong number. He was sending it to a friend, and he's like, oh, yeah, I was, like, outside her house and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, alright, just give me a moment. So basically this guy, he was, like, super upset that I wasn't into him, and I'm like, that's the first time we've ever met. You really expect us to just connect, especially you being such a, like, a nut job. It got to a point where, like, oh, like, on RSVP, I had to report him because I blocked him, I think. People knew that guy... Oh my God. Yeah, no, there are people who want to date me, but I don't think they understand what the reality of that would be like because I am a weirdo and yeah, you are never going to get the affection that you want from me because that's just not how I am. Um, yeah, anyway, so I think he was being so harassing, like yeah, I was taking photos of his messages. I also blocked him, I think, on RSVP, but then he made another account and was still sending me shit. And eventually I reported him on RSVP. The thing is, RSVP banned me. I don't know if they banned him, but they definitely banned me because my username was something like crazy bitch or whatever. And the weird thing about RSVP, I don't know what it's like now. Does it still exist? I don't even know. But back then, like, you would have to come up with your username and then you had to put a picture up and then someone would have to approve your picture. So when I first signed up, my first picture was not approved because I put one of my more alternative ones where I had weird face paint and all this kind of stuff. One that shows more of my crazy personality. So I eventually had to put a more normal one up and they approved that. Now you'd think at this point, approving my picture, they would have also looked at my username and been like, ah, and but no, they were fine. They let me go. They let all these guys get in contact and whatever. They let me stay on the website and all that kind of shit. But when I reported this guy for harassing me, they banned me because of inappropriate username. And I'm like, how did you guys not notice this when I first had my picture approved? No, I'm a Leo. I'm a Leo and I'm also a dragon if you're on the other system. I don't really believe in any of that stuff, but I got two of the best ones, so I'm pretty happy with that. And maybe that explains why I'm such a nut and why my ego is messed up. Ah, lion dragon. Roar! Anyway, yeah, no, so RSVP banned me or blocked me. I think they wanted me to change my username, but I couldn't figure out any way to do it. And at that point, like I was well and truly over it. Like I've been on some dates with some guys, which is just like, you know, have lunch or whatever, boring. There was one guy that I saw more than once because we went ice skating, but there was just like it was super awkward. Well, I was trying to warn people that I was a crazy bitch, right? So the account name was accurate. And also, like, I had this hilarious introduction. Like, you know, most people are trying to sell you their good points, but I was like, basically, if my dog doesn't like you, it's over. I said all this kind of crazy stuff in my description, and people still sent me messages. Can you imagine? But yeah, so he kept sending me messages to the point that I think when he stopped, I don't remember if I actually sent him this message, but I was taking notes on everything because if it was going to get that bad, I was actually preparing to report him to the police for harassment. And I think maybe I might have sent him a message telling him I was doing that at some point because, like, yeah, it got really stupid. So he was basically trying to stalk me. Now, he did say he sent those messages pretending he was outside my house kind of thing, or like the roundabout near my house or whatever. Like he was making up all this kind of crap where you could tell he had no idea where I lived at all. But yeah, you know, he was doing that kind of stuff and, you know, also sending me messages directly instead of pretending he had the wrong number. And yeah, I don't remember exactly how things went, but it did get to the point where I was going to report him. I probably told him, and then he probably realized, oh shit, this chick's serious, and that eventually it, like, stopped. But yeah, so the account name was... Yeah, no, I was telling people up front what I was. And so if a dude sees crazy bitch, is it really, like, maybe he should have been expecting the dragon onesie at the T-Rex exhibition. I think I probably even told him I was going to turn up in the dragon onesie, and he still turned up, and then wondered why it wasn't going how he thought it was going to go. Yeah, it was just like, dude, like, and you should never harass anyone like that just because they're not into you. Like, there was no chemistry or whatever. It was just like, I'm here for the T-Rexes. You can go do whatever the fuck you want to do. You know, like, what? We paid money to go to an exhibition. Are you just going to walk through and come straight out? I'm gonna stay there for like an hour or so reading everything because I fucking paid for it and I like T-Rexes and I want to know more about them. Thank you fucking very much. Anyway, yeah, no, you guys talking about star signs, like, I mean, if you want to believe that, I don't think you and your mum would fight because of star signs. Like, that it's too much of a simplification for everyone in the world to be put into 12 different categories. I don't believe in that stuff. I mean, you can believe what you want to, but I'm just saying it's not logically consistent and not science. I'm sorry. But, you know, for those of you who've been hanging around for the 10 years or so that I've been on YouTube, I used to go through some of that superstitious stuff. I find superstitious stuff interesting, but I can't believe it. Speaking of superstitious... No, wait, first, before I get onto that, I'll get the dragon onesie. Just bear with me. Oh. And for bonus points... Hey, here's the dragon onesie. Sorry, I'm not really set up to show this kind of stuff. Hello! Yes, imagine me turning up on a date, and this is what I'm wearing. And then also, Pikachu onesie. Pikachu, I wore this to uni. I've also worn the dragon onesie to a gig, a heavy metal gig once. Big mistake because when you're headbanging, you get really hot. The Pikachu onesie, I think it's also got like a zipper so that you can go to the toilet more easily, which I have used. I had to. This one though, I think you just have to unbutton the whole front if you want to pee, which is a bit of a pain. Anyway. Now, what have you guys been talking about while I was doing that? I saw a couple things pop up. Do you believe in ghosts? No. I am a dead inside atheist. Do you get creepy breathing phone calls? But that when I was in the afternoon sign up, they facilitate connection to Romania but no legal liability. No, I don't think he tried to call. I don't think he was that confident. This was a guy who had serious issues. You could tell, like, he had a rejection complex and all that. So, onesies are hot literally because it's like wearing a blanket. Maybe not that bad, but they heat up pretty fast. It's, yeah, you want to be wearing it in winter, I would say. Although it depends where you are. Aussie winters are a bit wimpy, so... Nah, sexy's taking it a bit too far, I think. They're odd, interesting curiosities, I would say. Anyway, no, speaking about superstitious stuff, so, for those of you who've been watching me, who, like, when did I start on YouTube? 2008, and then, I don't know exactly when I started talking about vampires and shit, but I did find, somehow, like, so when did I join Facebook? I don't even remember, but a lot of, like, I used to have a blog back when Microsoft had like Spaces or Live Spaces or something, and yeah, at some point I signed up to Facebook, and I don't know how, but all these years later, my blogs from that Spaces page turned up on my Facebook notes, and I don't know how this happened. I don't remember ever transferring them, and for a number of years, those Spaces blogs were not on my Facebook. I looked in my notes section, they were not there. And then in the last year or so, maybe I noticed they'd popped up. It's very strange, because I don't remember doing it. Spaces died a long time ago, so I don't know where the data came from to give it to Facebook. But yeah, no, I found my interviews with vampires. I haven't really read them, but I suspect that they are transcripts. And so I'm like, I wonder if I could bring that back to YouTube and sort of like recreate my vampire interviews. Because some of you guys, I think, were quite into that back when I did that. What vampire, like 2020 kind of ones? Would not be surprised if Trump owned a onesie. No, with the vampires, so I guess you guys must have, I can't keep track of who has been watching me how long. But no, the vampires, I'm talking about the real vampire community, people who actually think they're vampires and they've gone through an awakening. In the real vampire community, you don't really get turned. You just suddenly realize you're a vampire. And so there's two kinds. There's sanguinarian vampires who actually try and drink blood, and then there's psychic vampires who think they're just taking energy from people. Yeah, and both of them though, they both operate on this idea that the person who thinks they're a vampire, they have some kind of energy leak. Like, you know, a normal person doesn't have this energy leak, so they can just go about their lives, but a vampire has an energy leak, and so they have to get energy from someone else to replenish that every now and then because they can't do it themselves or whatever. And so, you know, the sanguinarians reckon they get it from drinking blood, and the psychic vampires reckon they get it from, I don't know. I have seen, like, back then there was a YouTube video of some dude who was trying to feed psychic vampires by being like, here you go guys, here's some energy, through the fucking camera. But can't you get sick from doing that? Yes, you can get sick from doing that, but there used to be, is the Sanguinarius website still up? I think it might be, but maybe it's not maintained. There are a lot of instructions on how to do it, like they're like, you should be over 18, you should get your donors screened for blood things. Remember the kids, some group of vampire kids killed some parents in the next video. Yeah, no, there's people who go too far like that, but this is the sensible vampire community where they're very much like about being over 18 and like consent type things. The difference between the vampire community and the BDSM type community is the vampire community, they recommend with your donors, the people who are giving the blood, that they should cut themselves, usually with like I think like a diabetes kind of thing, or there's like little blood testing, like blood kits you can do that don't really cut you badly, but are enough that a vampire can, like, you know, get your arm and be like, they recommend that they cut themselves, because if they cut themselves, then the vampire can't be accused of assault or something like that. I was gonna watch some adult film. I saw your stream and change my yeah, I'm sorry to go off in this weird direction for anyone who wasn't prepared for weirdness, but this is my channel. We go wherever we go. No, I mean, like, the thing is with the human body is not made for drinking blood. It's really interesting, the vampire community, all the advice they give about safety, because there's things like, even though you think you're a vampire and you think you can drink all this blood, there's a point where your body can't handle it anymore and you will just start throwing up. Yeah, and then they have all these theories about, like, you know, what kinds of blood is good and not good. So the obvious question some of you might have is, what about periods? And they're like, no, that's dead blood, you can't have that. And I'm like, yeah, bullshit, guys, you're just making excuses because it seems more gross. I mean, really, if you think about period blood, periods happen because of a process in the body that is designed to create life. Like, come on, human mosquitoes. Some of them were that kind of annoying, I gotta say. I gotta be real. Can't you drink your own blood? Well, see, the thing is, they think they have an energy leak. So if they drink their own blood, they're not getting any new energy. They're only getting it from themselves. So they insist that they have to drink someone else's blood. And it has to be like living blood, not dead blood or whatever. And I think, like, people have talked about blood substitutes and so on, but they make up excuses for why that's not good enough. I think they're really dedicated to the idea of drinking someone else's blood. There are conversations, though, about, like, if someone was under the age of 18, like, how do you go about that? And they're like, so, you know, just get a really raw steak. I'm like, so raw steak is fine now, is it? Even though the animal has been dead for quite a while and you're not actually getting that much blood from it. Yeah, no, there's a lot of inconsistencies in it, but it was a really interesting subculture to look into, and I talked to a lot, like, you know, I used to do interviews with them. Mentally ill. Hey, like, people who have a lot of, like, it's like any religion, really, like, if you really kind of think about it, a lot of religions that seem normal today have a lot of weird stuff going on it. Like, I grew up Catholic, right? And it wasn't for, like, even after I became an atheist, it wasn't for ages that I actually was like, hang on, that really doesn't make sense. Like, because I grew up, for example, with the concept of the Trinity, some other Christians have problems with the concept of the Trinity, but because I grew up with it, I'm like, no, that makes complete, perfect sense. You're like, ooh, no, that's going a bit too far, I think. Um, but no, like the whole thing, the thing that I didn't like, even after I became an atheist, it didn't occur to me for ages until watching maybe like Bill Maher's documentary, I think like Religious or something. Um, he was like, basically the whole Jesus story is God sacrifices Jesus, who is himself. God sacrifices himself to himself. Oh my God, sorry, my screen just went. God sacrifices himself to forgive his creations because he set up a law that he has to do this. Like, it's this really convoluted kind of thing. Like, if God is all powerful, why not just forgive everyone? You don't have to go through this whole game of sending yourself to be sacrificed to yourself to forgive everyone for a rule you created. Like, does that make sense? Like, I didn't even think about that for a long time, that was weird. Like, a really weird way to do it, especially like having grown up being told that God could do anything. In that case, God can change the rules and you don't have to do all this kind of stuff. So, with a lot of religion kind of things, even though you have like vampire people who think they're all these kind of crazy stuff, there's a lot of mainstream accepted religious stuff that when you think about it too much gets super weird. It depends whether you mean like culturally. I know like some people are Jewish, but mainly in a cultural sense rather than Jewish in a more religious sense. Um, I've never really, like, mainstream religions aren't as interesting to me, so I've never really learned a lot of the nuances of it. But I have heard people saying, like, they're Jewish culturally, but not religiously. So it depends, I guess, which way you're going to take things. Like, some people like the messages of Christianity, for example, but they don't necessarily believe the rest of it. Or maybe they are Christian, but they don't fall into a particular church because they don't like the way that churches do stuff. They like the essential message of Jesus or whatever. Um, Flip over a chessboard and say you won rather than playing the game. Oh dear. Oh, anyway, yeah, no, I found all the vampire stuff. I think I used to also talk to lichens, like, people who think they're werewolves and stuff. Like, there's all kinds of life's about the thing, checkmate. Depends what kind of life you're trying to live, I guess. But yeah, no, I used to talk to some werewolves. I don't know if any of that popped up. I guess I could check my notes quickly. Facebook. Yeah, no, so I've got interviews with a sanguinarian vampire. Oh my God, there's also like, there's even stuff from before I signed up to Facebook, so I don't know how these got transferred across. Like, my experiments before I like started getting things like Punk Rave Australia stuff. Before that, a long time ago when I first started experimenting with fashion, I tried to do like DIY goth stuff and it was pretty bad. Fortunately, the photos haven't transferred. So I should probably actually delete the ones that just have a link that goes nowhere. I've made all these private though, so even if you're friends with me on Facebook, you can't see this stuff because I was just like, this is too weird. But yeah, no, there's some weird blogs about different things, mood swings, some of my weird views I had back then. Oh wow, there's stuff about antidepressants. There's something about, reply to irrational YouTubers. I wonder what that was about. Oh, I had a conversation with a conspiracy theorist, so that was with a YouTuber. Interview with a psychic vampire. A response to a message I got from a Catholic. Oh, I had a talk to someone who believed in telekinesis. Sometimes it's like duplicated them, so it's going to take me a while to actually sort through and figure out what's what. I don't know that there's any with a lichen or a therian. Like, like otherkin kind of stuff. They're all in that same sort of group of people who believe they're something other than human, or have some kind of magic power. Another thing about vampires, some of them think that they have a heightened sense of smell or other kind of stuff. Oh, I wrote a blog about vampire weaknesses. Like, you know, they're essentially admitting to a... Am I still live? I don't trust you, YouTube. You make a video about the best onesie. I only have 2 onesies though, and they're out of fashion now, so it's hard to find them. How many push-ups can you do? Depends on the day. Usually I try and do 5 because then I'm going to do other stuff. But sometimes I'm in the mood, I do more. I'm a bit out of practice with my push-ups. What's the obesity rate in Australia? I have no idea. I think it's high, but maybe not as high as America. Yeah. Oh, I did a thing about Satanism and black magic. Like, this is the kind of stuff I used to look into. Oh, homeopathy. Oh my god. Oh, there was something about women and feminism. Stuff that Past Me was talking about. I think that was when I was a little bit annoyed with some of the feminist stuff going around. That time we were wondering if I might be schizoid. And that's it. Yeah, no, so there's nothing there me talking to a werewolf person, unfortunately, because that was some interesting weird stuff as well. But hey, whatever. Maybe we can go through some of the vampire stuff. Maybe I can, like, do videos about what the vampire culture is, because it seems like that maybe isn't as well known on the internet anymore. I had a friend that was into vampire stuff. He told a girl at work he smelled blood. He was reported to the... The thing is, like, period blood, you can smell it, especially if you're using just a pad. But fortunately, I now take the pill back to back, so I don't get my period anymore. It's made such a difference to my life, because that shit, like, especially I used to get really bad period pain. Some of you may remember my period pain video. It might even still be online there waiting to embarrass me. But yeah, no, I used to get really bad period pain, and it got to a point where I would have to be in bed for 2 days, like, every month, and they lasted a long time too. So, yeah, at some point, I didn't want to be on the pill, especially, like, growing up in a Catholic family. I think I was a little bit worried what the family would assume about me if I went on the pill, because it's technically a contraceptive. But eventually it was just bad enough that I was like, fuck it, give me the pill. Well, when the doctor suggested it, I was like, yeah, fine, I'll do it. But then, like, you know, then you're supposed to, like, you take the pill, the proper things, and then you have a sugar pill break, and that's supposed to simulate a period, but it's just a withdrawal bleed. There's nothing to look your nose about. Yeah. But yeah, no, so even doing the pill properly, at first it was fine. Like, my periods got so much better. Periods, they're withdrawal bleeds. They were so much better than a proper period. But over time, the pain started coming back, and it got to the point where, like, having a withdrawal bleed was almost as bad as having a proper period. So then my doctor started saying, you can skip periods. And then after a while, I was like, why even have them at all? If you look at the history of the pill, the main reason they put it in was to try and appease the Catholic Church, and of course it didn't work. And, you know, also try and make women feel better that they weren't pregnant, because, you know, that was one of the signs people used to say, okay, I'm not pregnant, which it just isn't an issue for me. I'm not getting pregnant. Yeah, so I just don't have one anymore. Like, I think you can get to a point where stuff builds up in your body enough that your body will just have a bleed, but I haven't got to that point, and if my body's going to do that at some point, let that happen then. I don't need to go through shit. Do you exercise? Not as much as I should. I find exercise boring, unfortunately, so it's really hard. I've been going for more walks lately because Hope doesn't want to go with the parents in the morning, so I feel guilty and I take him in the afternoon instead. They go at like 5 in the morning. They're crazy. Anyway, so I don't blame... Oh, Nando's has a new... Oh, I just saw on Facebook, Nando's. I fucking love Nando's. I'm in their Peri Perks kind of thing. Oh my god. I'm so hungry. I'm just gonna, like, leave them drooling emojis. Where is that? Hang on. Oh no, there's no drooling emoji. There's that. I really want to get some Nando's. Also, I'm a little bit hungry. Anyway! Huh? Oh, well, some people will want to do that, but I'm not into that. Nice. Yeah, thank you. Cat clinging to me. Anyway, yeah, no, I got to a point where skipping periods just made much more sense to my quality of life, and I haven't looked back. There is some risk with taking the pill, especially the pill I'm on. The pill I'm on is actually prescribed for acne, and some of you remember I did have troubles with that when I was younger. So like we did like topical treatments, but also having that as an extra effect of the pill that I'm on. Probably the only reason my skin is as good as it is, despite my mediocre hygiene habits. But yeah, no, it works by like, I don't know, calming down some of the male hormones if you've got a little too many male hormones for a female. I don't know if that's what I had, but yeah, no, technically I'm prescribed the pill for acne because using it as a contraceptive, I think the one I'm on is actually banned in America. Don't know why. There's a risk of blood clotting and blood pressure things, but I actually have really low blood pressure, so if it increases my blood pressure, it probably makes me more normal, to be honest. But yeah, no, I think that's the reason that you have to keep getting checkups is like you can get side effects from pills. Hasn't been an issue for me though, so yeah. Blah blah blah. But for me, it's mainly for period pain and controlling that whole bullshit. Because like, you know, if I had lived before medical times, like before modern civilization, I probably would have had a whole bunch of kids by now and at some point died in childbirth anyway. So I shouldn't be getting periods, really. That's the way I look at it, is periods are actually kind of unnatural. You know, if I was in a natural human state pre-technology and all that kind of stuff, yeah, I'd be dead by now. And probably would never have had a period in my life because I would be constantly pregnant or child rearing in that sort of in between period. Yeah, no, that's a little bit of a side tangent. Oh my god, the Nando's is so distracting. They have this deal at the moment. I think it's Australia wide, I'm not sure. But like for $12, you can get a classic burger with chips and barbecue ribs and stuff. For $12, fuck yeah, I just need a little bit of a drink as well. I really want to get some. Does your dog chase rabbits? There's not that many rabbits where I am. I don't know. Better off chasing birds. Like he does go out to chase birds. He even chases the bush turkeys that run around the place. Even though they're like bigger than him. Yeah, I love the classic burger. It's my favorite one. I don't like tomatoes, but if it's in a Nando's burger, I will eat the tomato as well. It's just something about their sauce makes everything better. Also, Nando's, like, do you guys remember when I was having trouble with eating? So, like, I was just losing weight slowly, constantly. Turned out to be because of an antidepressant I was on. But, yeah, no, I was losing my appetite. So, Nando's was one of the things that actually helped me eat during that time. Of course, at some point, I completely lost my appetite. So, I was surviving on Sustagen hospital formula. Oh my god. But yeah, no, Nando's. And I used to have it used to be right next to my old work. So like every lunch break I would go there. I ended up on their VIP list at some point and they took us out for free dinner and like testing new products and like this weird art drawing kind of thing as well. Yeah, if it was still near my house, I would go way too much. I would have like no money. But one of the things I like about Nando's is their loyalty card is actually kind of good. Like you can save up points to buy more Nando's, which is what I want. I don't want all these extra bullshit products that they're trying to sell me. I just want to spend it more on Nando's. Burger VIP, yeah, no, I like Nando's a lot. Just, yeah, because I'm picky. Like, even without being on antidepressants, I'm still picky. So, yeah, when I find food I like, I'm like, yep, yeah, I'm into that. And, you know, feels a bit more substantial and, like, less tacky than McDonald's. McDonald's is cheaper, though. So, I like McDonald's cheeseburgers, but I don't really like much else there, food-wise. And Nando's chips are definitely better. Anyway, serious distraction. Maybe I should put it on a different page so I don't have to look at it anymore. They also have a story though, so maybe I should look at that. No, I will do that later. Anyway, wow. So we've been going for like 2 hours. I'm not really expecting anyone to come home for half an hour, but you know, we're sort of at that point where I may have to run from the live stream at any point. So if you have a question, quick get in with it, just in case. But yeah, so basically to sum up, what I was trying to get through with the live stream initially is just like how crazy 2020's been. So, Pulp Fiction, okay. I just have to take your. Oh, is Burger VIP like a burger shop? Maybe we don't have it here. No fast food for a while. It would eat your cash up. Yeah, I actually don't eat that much fast food. Like, one of the reasons I can't get Nando's is like there's nothing near me. Um, Nothing near me like that. So I would have to go maybe to the city, maybe to Chatswood, although Chatswood has a lot of other food that I like. So, you know, the city probably, because it's hard to know what's good food in the city and it can be quite busy, but Nando's is always there for me. Um, yeah, anyway, so this year has just been crazy. Crazy. It's just like everything that can go wrong has been trying to go wrong. But overall, like I am coping. 2020 chaos, yeah. Overall, I'm coping though, and I think it's just because my mood is so much better. And also, like after the last depression, I feel like that last depression, I had to make a lot of changes to get out of it because we sort of realized therapy wasn't working and meds weren't working for me. So I really had to put in the work myself, I think. And it's hard because depression changes the way you think. And so, like, you want to be determined to overcome it, but your brain is fighting itself. So, yeah, it's tricky. But I managed to make enough changes in my life to sort of get back up on my feet. And I think I made enough changes, like accepted certain things about my life and changed the way I think enough that it's become more of a stable basis. I mean, cross fingers, because 2 years is a good time for me not to be depressed. I would say, like, I'm probably due to become depressed again, but I don't think I am going to get depressed again in the short term at least, because I feel like I have gotten on top of, like, I think I've got a good base now, and so when things hit me, they don't knock me over as easily. And I also dropped some of the stupid dreams I have that I thought were going to make my life better. Um, I think that's like one of the things is like I would get over depression but have some new hope, and then that new hope would collapse, and then I'd be like, ugh, again. Whereas now I'm much more go with the flow. I'm not clinging to some hope. I mean, there are some things I hope will happen, but I'm not like this will fix my life kind of thing. So I think my expectations are better, and so I don't think I'm as likely to get depressed again. Do you like video games? I've never been much of a gamer. Like I played a lot of Pokemon, but Pokemon's kind of easy. Um, there's that, if you look on my playlists, I've also got my Free Space 2 playlist, which I need to finish at some point. I'm pretty sure I've got it installed on the Alien successfully, but I haven't actually played it yet because it's just been too busy to record anything. Um, I still haven't downloaded my Xbox Game Pass that came with the computer. I just haven't had time. Like, gaming takes so much time and you don't really achieve anything. And if you think about what I was saying before, I feel like I always have to be doing something. If I stop to play a game, I feel like I've wasted so much time, even though I will go and waste time on Neopets. Neopets feels like less commitment, like, oh, I can stop at any time. um, yeah, no. So, like, I played some good video games, I guess, that had interesting stories, but you ever got detention? I don't think so. I was like one of the good students. I was one of the ones they had all their hopes in. You know, they thought I'd do really well, go off to a good uni and go and be someone important in the industry. I don't know. They had a lot of expectations for me because I was top of like maths and stuff at school. And, you know, I was like a good student. And also, like, when you have a reputation for being a good student, you can get away with shit that other people might get in trouble for. So, like, you know, I was scrunching paper, trying to make tissue paper like right in front of my maths teacher, and instead of getting annoyed at it, she's just like, what are you doing? And I explained, and it was kind of like, carry on then, because you must be some kind of genius. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. But yeah, no, if you get a piece of paper and scrunch it and unscrunch it and scrunch it and unscrunch it, eventually it sort of kinda mimics tissue paper, but it's not really that good. Anyway, that was an experiment, but so I was able to get away with that kind of thing. But of course, you know, being the nut job at that I am, I didn't even know what I wanted to do after school. So I think that's one of the reasons, like, schoolgirl outfits. Oh, like we had a uniform. It was pretty bad. Especially once they changed the uniform. It used to be, we had like a summer and a winter uniform. The winter uniform, when it changed, was almost the same. It was just like cut slightly differently, maybe some sharper lines and stuff. The summer uniform though originally was like a sort of pale blue with like faint crisscrossy patterns. When they changed it, it became like these sort of dark blue and dark blue and white stripes, kind of thin stripes, and like quite obvious you can see from a distance. Whereas the other one you couldn't really see the texture so much from a distance, and the fabric was terrible. You had to wear a bra with it because it was so scratchy. Which is like in summer. In summer, I want to be cool. I don't want to have to wear an extra piece of fabric just because you. Oh my god, it was terrible. Like bras make it like it was already sweaty enough as it is. Now you've got to wear a bra just so that your boobs don't get scratched off. But the pattern changing to stripes. When we were watching they did a fashion parade for us. We're like, what is this? It's like practically bananas in pajamas. And they said, no, it's actually good. You know, the stripes are there to make you look thinner. Like, that's how it works. And we're like, are you saying we look fat? Which, yeah, I don't know. I don't like the redesign. It was just like, why? Now we can't rely on hand-me-downs. You just want to sell more uniforms. Hey. I got detention a bunch of times. I think detention in Australia might be a little bit different. I'm not sure. Do you still have it? And if you do, no, I don't have it. Like, it was more than 10 years ago. Bras are uncomfortable, so I generally don't wear them. I think I only ever wear like sports bra type things, and only if I'm doing something heaps active. Like, so I got some. And, you know, like these days I don't even wear like a proper sports bra. I wear tops that sort of have a bra like kind of thing built in. So when I was doing Hello Scream Sydney, because I was running around scare acting, I bought some from Uniqlo that were actually really comfortable, surprisingly. But yeah, I've never been measured for a proper bra, so I don't know what my size is, but I'm sure it's like whatever's tiny. I didn't even like, one of the things about the pill is it like, maybe I did have too many male hormones. I don't know, but I did notice that my boobs got a little bit bigger once I went on the pill. Only a little bit, and then like once my body adjusted, it just stopped. But yeah, no, that's something interesting. But yeah, I don't like bras, and because I'm small, I don't really need to wear them. Yeah, so I just don't. And like, you know, people worry about stretch lines or whatever, or sagging or whatever. You can't really stop a lot of that, so why bother if you're just going to be uncomfortable? Underwear is uncomfortable too, like my Johns. Okay, I don't really know. I know, like, I assume for guys, underwear is probably more uncomfortable. For girls, when some person has animals on wish list and happen to get, huh? I don't want a schoolgirl uniform. I'm done with that part of life. Like, school was not for me. I think maybe you have an interest in something that I'm not interested in being a part of. Yeah, so I don't know. Like, one of the benefits of having a school uniform, though, is I didn't have to think about clothes, and that's probably why it took me so long to get into any kind of fashion, and then I got into goth fashion mainly. But mostly I just wear lazy clothes. Yeah, but like at the time I wouldn't have known what to wear to school. So that was one of the better things about having a uniform. It's just a shame it was so uncomfortable. There are some schools in Australia where you don't have to wear a uniform. But no. Anyway. So yeah, a bit of a ramble there. What else can we ramble about before I have to leave though? Or, I'm a little bit hungry to be honest. Should probably eat something. We finally got some sushi vinegar again. So now when I make my norimaki, I can actually have that proper sushi taste. It's so good. I should check if there's some rice cooking, because otherwise, if there's rice cooking, maybe I'll wait. And then I'll make some norimaki with the sushi vinegar. It does make a difference. Like, I will happily eat norimaki. I eat plain norimaki, so it's just like the rice with the seaweed around it. I'll happily eat it plain, but adding a bit of sushi vinegar just makes such a difference. It's tasty. You can add other things like Japanese mayonnaise, but no, the sushi vinegar is the best. Keep them coming and I'll keep commenting. Yeah. Well, I mean, like this, because it's a live stream, this is your chance to ask stuff, as long as it's not too out there. Sometimes people try and ask things that are a bit inappropriate or overly political. I don't really want to be overly political because, like, I consider myself more of a centrist. And I mean, on some issues, maybe I'll lean left, some issues, maybe I'll lean right, or, sometimes liberal, conservative, whatever. Um, but I'm always sort of adjusting my opinions, and so it's hard for me. If you ask me a political view, sometimes it's a bit of a struggle for me to think, well, what actually do I think about that? When you think about all the different factors, a lot of these things are so much more complicated. You just like to joke around. Oh well, as long as we're having a bit of fun. Um, Because, like, isn't that what I am, like, as a YouTuber, essentially? When you break it down, I'm an entertainer. I started YouTube more as, like, just a vlog for myself, but it's sort of evolved, hasn't it? And I guess I'm entertaining myself in a way as well. So this is all just entertainment when it comes down to it, I suppose. I know there's people who, like, start YouTubes because they claim they want to make a difference in the world. I'm a little bit cynical, but, you know. I'm just like, I don't think I could ever do that. Be like, oh yeah, I'm doing this totally to make a difference to the world. No, I'm a little bit too self centered for that, and maybe a bit too honest about being self centered. Um, mm, yeah, I think, like, I still have problems with my ego. Like, I don't know how much comes across, but I think my ego is a problem sometimes. Udon soup. Oh yeah, I haven't made udon in a while. If you go onto my channel, type in. I'm not sure what to type in, but I'm pretty sure I made an udon tutorial if you want to see how I make udon. It's a bit out of date because our kitchen's different now, but yeah, I think it was like how to make udon for lazy people or something because I'm lazy. I don't like cooking. I like eating, even though, like, it doesn't look like I like eating. I know I'm still a bit skinny. I'm not as skinny as I used to be though. I've managed to stay at a healthier, like, 52 kilos. It's still a bit low for my height, but I've managed to keep it up there. So, I'm healthier than when I was like 47, might be the lowest I've weighed as an adult, I think. Yeah, no, there's heaps of videos. I know it's a bit hard to sort through my videos because I post so much, like, random, unconnected stuff. Yeah, well, like, see, sometimes people think they're fat, but they're, when you think about it, it's not that bad. It's like when you're really big, then maybe you want to do some exercise. I know there's, like, a lot of fat acceptance, which is fine to a point, but there is a point where it becomes a health problem. But if you're in the sort of, like, medium range, it's fine. I would say, like, I think now I am a healthy weight. But, like, borderline, if I started losing weight again, I would very quickly fall into the unhealthy underweight category, so I've got to be careful about that. And it's a bit of a struggle, like, I know a lot of people want to be skinny, but there are problems that come with it. Like, I think that's one of the reasons my blood pressure is low, and low blood pressure is generally healthier, but depending on how my health is at the time, if I stand up too fast, then I get that sort of blackout kind of thing, and I feel very lightheaded, ticklish. I'm probably a little bit ticklish. It's been a while, to be honest. I'm not as ticklish as, like, one of my brothers is, who, like, I can just, like, make a move where I'm not even intending to tickle him and he will flinch. So, you know, but yeah, no, I don't know. And you can't really self-tickle, so. But yeah, no, being underweight, so there's, like, some health-related things. Skinny makes you. Oh, it depends. Like, some people can be skinny and be actually quite strong, but for me, because I don't work out. I mean, I'm a chick, so I don't have the testosterone to make a lot of that effort really worthwhile in terms of muscle gain. I would have to have so much protein and, like, yeah, no, thank you. It's too much effort. I try and do some exercise. Most of the exercise I do that is successful is, like, singing related. It's probably not enough, to be honest. Or if I could do Taronga wild ropes more, because that's a bit more interesting than just trying to work out in a gym. I've tried working out in a gym. It was so boring, and yeah, it's not the place for me. Sorry, I'm not sure if someone's coming home, or if Hope's just freaking out because, like, maybe school kids going by. Someone might be home, unfortunately. So what was the last question? Short-tempered. I'm not sure, actually. What about yoga? Yeah, no. Alright, I'm gonna have to go. Sorry guys. Thanks for joining me though, and I will try and get some more videos coming whenever 2020 lets me.